Hi and welcome, guys. I want to thank you for being here with us today, and I want to welcome you to Iris. My name is Iris Garcia, and this show is dedicated to helping, inspiring, educating our community. And today we're going to talk about things that are very important to us. First, I want to dedicate this to our young kids. They're going to come into the show and tell us how they're helping and empowering others to continue and their growth. Also, I want to talk about people and the sense of losing, and I always have to look good, great, and sexy. Here we go. With Iris, and of course I want to introduce you to a group, or actually I should say my executive producer, right, Peter?
Yep.
Or Pedro. Welcome to Iris. You know, you guys are an inspiration to me, and of course I'm going to put you to work. How would you introduce him to the show?
Well, this is my right-hand man is in production. This is Dayron Osis. He's the editor, executive producer, cameraman.
You know, I always got to say you're the ones that make me look good, because you guys know my boo-boos, so don't tell them all about it, but eventually we'll put all the bloopers there so they could see what we did, right?
Yes.
But right away, what made you guys decide to go into this field?
Well, what made me decide to go into this field is just watching movies, television shows, everything that just inspired me. I wanted to work in front, behind, around. I wanted to be everywhere around the camera and do in entertainment.
Perfect. And you need to, as executive producer, you need to know a little bit of everything. And what about you?
Mostly the same story.
Yeah.
I started working in production about 3 years ago, and I just fell in love with it. Anything that has to do with TV, film.
Do you recommend this to anybody? You know, one of the things we were saying before is I don't see a lot of women doing this. You know, I'm always about empowering women.
Yeah.
I love everybody, but you know, I'm always, of course, a little bit biased because I'm a woman, and I like to see us do well. What about your experience? You don't see a lot of them into it behind the scenes?
I see a lot of them that like to be in front of it. I don't see as much behind the scenes, even though that's something that we absolutely
it's a lot of fun,
need.
isn't it?
No, yeah, it's a lot of fun. I absolutely recommend it to everyone. But this is, I think, a business that you have to be all in. You have to just want it.
And let me tell you, I think you guys created a video because that's something, since I want you guys here every week, I want to see what you guys have for us. Shall we see it?
Yes.
All right, let's look at it.
Just kidding. Dress code violation. No cap.
And guys, what were you thinking when you did that video? What inspired you?
What inspires us is, I feel, entertaining people, always getting the positive feedback back, and just trying to wow people with anything, whether it's making it look like a VHS, making it sound old school.
But at the same time, it was a message, because that was for the FCAT, right?
Yeah, for the FSA,
The
yeah,
FSA,
for the
yeah.
FSA video. Every year, so like last year they started to do a video to motivate the students to do better. And so last year they hired a professional to do it. And then this year they went with us.
Right.
Which we're not super professionals, but hey, we made
And
it
all the
work.
kids were willing to participate, and they had no problem. How many people were you to coordinate to do all this?
To coordinate,
Well,
like 4?
yeah, it was 4
That's
of
4
us.
people, but
4 or
then
5 people
you have the
coordinating.
audience and
Yeah,
everybody
and then,
else.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Great.
had
And these are all
about-
students, and they're all acting and all that?
Yeah, we had a
Great.
good, I'll say like 100 people
Yeah, 100.
that took to just make like everything like as a second and stuff like
Okay.
that.
And what's the craziest thing you guys done as far as video is concerned?
Oh, as far as video is concerned,
Yeah.
people have come out of trash cans. What else
Ooh,
have we done?
I like that, a trash
have we
can.
done?
Yes, people came out of a trash
Okay.
can. We had a teacher screaming in the toilet.
screaming.
And they all because you're sending a message.
Exactly. Everything relates to a message, and that's why you have to go back and watch the first episode to understand the fifth and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right, fantastic. Because I know you guys have a YouTube channel, but you guys are going to be coming here every week.
Yes.
To show us what you guys been doing to keep inspiring us, because it's very important. But guys, you know me, I always like to empower the woman.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for being here, but I want us to take a look at what we have done to keep empowering women. Let's look.
Women Voice Network. It's a channel to help women.
We can succeed. We have the power.
to help each other.
You can do it. This is my aspiration.
And you? The strength and love within all of us is the will to succeed. Women Voice Network is a channel to empower and help women.
When did you come to the United States?
Well, Sophie, I came from Cuba in 1997.
Whoa, like 20 years ago.
Like 20 years ago, you can say that.
And what did you used to do in your country?
I was in school. I was a little girl, so I was still in school.
Yeah, and what do you do here now?
Well, now here I'm a business owner. Yes, we had the opportunity to open a transportation company, and we take patients from their home to the appointments at the office, of the doctor's office.
Wow.
Thank you.
And are you happy?
Super, super. This country has given us very good chances, and I think everybody should take the opportunity to take what this amazing country gives us. So, yes, definitely.
If she can do it, you can do it too.
They can do it, you can do it too, right? So I want to welcome you back, Grace. I mean, thank you so much, because I know that we've been talking about all the things that you guys do, right, as Women Fund, right? Why don't you tell me a little bit about the institution and what it is that you guys are wanting to do?
Of course. So the Women's Fund is an organization that was founded in 1993. Our goal was to empower women and girls, and we support organizations of nonprofit, and we give them grants, and we also create a lot of awareness in the community regarding women issues.
Oh, perfect. I know one of the dear things that you guys are working on and that we are all trying to work on is human trafficking, right? And then we want to first to start identifying the differences, because people think human trafficking is just human trafficking, but there's sex trafficking, right? Human trafficking. So what is the difference?
So the difference is that human trafficking really pertains to everyone.
Right,
Sex
okay.
trafficking is more about women, and that's what we're focusing on, and that's what our campaign is about. And we started our focus in 2008. And most recently, we're collaborating with our state attorney, Kathy Rondo.
Right.
And we are trying to do the best that we can to bring this at the forefront of the authorities, with our government, with our state officials. And this happens everywhere.
No, it's a lot of
Everywhere.
education, because just recently I fly quite a bit, and they were telling me, and I think it was in the news, how they've been trying to train the flight attendants to see when signals or signs that say, hey, these people need the help.
Yes, it is very unfortunate that we do not have enough awareness, but there are signs that you can educate yourself, and I absolutely empower people to go on the website and online services that provide education and awareness on how to select and how do you know when your child is being one of these victims. To give you a few statistics.
Yes, please.
It's the earliest age is start at 13 years old.
Wow.
These are little girls that run away from their home because they have very dysfunctional families. And they're running to see if someone can attend to them, provide them with love,
Right.
understand them, hear them. Perhaps
Which is what a human needs need. We all
Exactly.
need to be loved. We all need to feel it. We all need to know that people are really concerned about us.
So sex traffickers are known to be found in the bus stations and also train
waiting.
stations, and they're waiting for these victims because these victims want to leave and they want to go somewhere else, and these traffickers are waiting. They know how to talk to them. They know how to listen to them. They buy them clothing. They buy them items.
No, imagine.
To the point that they already convince them to go with them, and they drug them.
Yes.
After they drug them, they convince them, and they start working with them. The annual revenue for these sex traffickers per child is $150,000 to $200,000
Wow.
per child.
More than salaries that most people make.
Yes.
Oh,
And the
it's
average,
a real business.
And the average is 3% of these victims are United States citizens.
already. So people will think that it's, happening somewhere else, that most people are immigrants or illegal, and it is not.
It is
It is
not.
people from home back. Guys, we got to continue to educate. This is why you're here, Grace. I want
And
you to
thank you so
continue to
much.
come.
Thank you so much for
because
giving us the
we're going to be
opportunity.
giving the information, so, help us out. We'll help you out. Anything that we can do to keep educating, that's what we're here for. And I do want to thank you.
I suffered from chronic pain for 20 plus years from an autoimmune disease.
And here we're back again, guys, with Iris, and I want to introduce you to my great guest here again. Anilu, thank you for being here. You know that when I spoke to you, you were my inspiration. I love to talk to people that can continue to inspire me. And of course, we want to say, Frank, thank you for being here with us too as well. But let me start, ladies first, right? Ladies first all the time. Tell me, because your story was so fascinating, the way you came back from being disabled, in pain all the time. Why don't you share some of that with us? Because let me tell you, that is inspiration right there for me.
Awesome. Well, I suffered from chronic pain for 20 plus years from an autoimmune disease. It came to the point where I was using a walker, a cane, and I couldn't work outside of the house.
Wow.
At the same time, I was raising 3 small children.
How do you do that? Because Frank, what are you doing? You were picking up after her, or how did you guys manage?
I was helping as much as I could, but of course I had a full-time job.
Of course.
Yeah, I'm a physical therapist, so I was out and about all the time.
No, I imagine, because let me tell you, as much as we like to be at home, we have to be realistic. Somebody has to continue paying the bills, right?
Right.
Perfect.
Exactly.
So how did you get around that you were able to get out of that and look as healthy as you look today?
Well, thank you. I started watching the way I was eating.
Okay.
I've been on a lot of medications for a long time, and a lot of them is steroids.
Mm-hmm.
Steroids, of course, cause
You to gain.
weight.
And of
Exactly,
course.
exactly. And the amount of inflammation that was in my body was just astronomical. It was very, very, very bad, very painful, and very limiting. So what I did was I was able to start losing weight or inflammation.
And by the way, we can see your picture.
Oh, yes.
Before and
yes.
after.
Yes, that was me in November. The second
Wow.
one was maybe a few weeks ago, and I have been able to continue dropping inflammation since I started changing my way of eating.
Okay, so it's all
Okay.
about eating then.
Yes, absolutely. It says
What were you eating before that now you're not eating?
I was eating processed foods, carbohydrates,
Okay.
sugars.
All right.
Okay.
So no breads.
Well,
breads.
right. Well, that's for me because I do have to deal with the autoimmune
Okay.
problem. But other people, they could probably process it better
Mm-hmm.
than me. Nevertheless, the processed foods today are poison. Poison for our
Yes.
children, poison for us. Before, if you look back in the old days, people ate from the ground.
Right.
They ate vegetables, they grew their own food, they ate meat. Okay.
That's why they last longer, I think, and healthier, right?
Exactly, they
Plus,
live
again,
longer.
don't you find out that they were able to do that because they had the time? Let me tell you, if I had the time, I think I would go, well, my husband will say otherwise, but I would probably go back there, have a little garden with my little carrots and tomatoes and something else, right? But we don't have the time to do that. So, and not only that, think about it. It's faster to eat junk food.
Exactly.
Right? Cheaper to eat junk food.
Exactly.
So when you're talking about healthy, which is why our old dilemma we always argue at home is, how do we find the balance? What you been able to do about that?
Well, basically what I did was I reduced my carbs, I reduced my protein is a moderate protein, and I eat a lot of healthy fats.
Okay, all right.
Okay. What happens when you eat healthy
What are
fats?
those healthy fats, real quick?
Avocado.
Okay, I love
Olive
that.
oil. Oh yeah,
We do
olive
love
oil.
oil.
Coconut oil.
Okay,
Avocado oil.
all right.
Okay, and grass-fed butter, organic, of course.
All right. And Frank, we're looking at your picture, or we're looking at your picture in which you lost all that weight. Some of the people were here. Was that him? How could that be?
right.
How did you manage? Because that was you, but did you have to do a little bit different? Because they say everybody's a little bit different, right?
Right. I tried doing it with just plain old exercise and cutting the calories, but it didn't seem to be moving as quick as I wanted to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You step on the scale
Yeah,
and it
I
only
know.
goes down a little
You just
bit,
wanna
and you're
kick
like,
it.
oh my God, it goes up again. Fortunately, in November, we actually discovered something that is a supplement
Okay.
that has to do with ketones,
Okay.
which is a conversation you're going to hear about
Sure.
in the future.
What is that, real quick?
Basically, it's putting your body. It's a supplement, but it's actually something that your body actually produces on its own.
Okay.
If you restrict carbohydrates and you eat, for example, less of the sugary stuff. So what happens is your body uses that as a secondary fuel.
Okay.
We're kind of like a hybrid car, you know, where you have the electric and you have the sugar. So you're either a sugar burner or a fat burner. And so it's more efficient to be a fat burner. In other words, to use the electrical versus the sugar, which is the gas. It kind of burns off and you need more. You know, it has a lot to do with insulin levels.
So you found the balance there?
Found the balance. Definitely.
And I think, Frank, you go to places and you are teaching people and educating people on how to eat better and how to understand their bodies. Is that something that you're doing as a therapist too?
Absolutely, because, you know, it goes along with health. I mean, I interview people before I do the
I can
therapy.
see you doing some conferences there.
Yeah. I actually interview people as far as their medical history. And today, 8 out of 10, I'll tell you, at least 8 out of 10 will tell you they have diabetes or hypertension, which is a part of what's called metabolic syndrome. And it's just basically going to fuel many more diseases in the future. So, you know, we said, hey, man, we can inspire people to live better if we could just teach them about this type of diet, which is very different. Because many years ago, they said, hey, let's go low fat, low fat. But if you look at obesity levels today versus 20, 30 years ago, we're much higher.
Yes.
Right.
What do you do with the kids? Or what can we tell them to do with the kids?
Well, the children, I believe that it starts in the home.
Okay.
For example, I have a grandchild that's going to be 3 years old. And my daughter-in-law is great at that. She was Miss Tennessee in 2000, what was it, 2007? Eight. And my grandson, he'll have cherry tomatoes, and they're very sweet. So if you don't really introduce them to all these sugary high foods, they will learn.
No, of course.
Celery with homemade peanut butter. I mean,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah,
I like
or
that.
carrots with peanut butter.
Right.
There's just a lot of things you can make, and there are. If you look for recipes that you can make chocolate mousse out of avocado.
Right.
And it's delicious.
Chocolate mousse out of avocado, my God.
Oh, it's fabulous.
Really?
It's fabulous. Yes.
We gotta make a little kitchen next time so you can show me how to do that.
I do it all the time. I love it.
But you know, that's great because I believe as human beings, we live by habits, right? So if I'm born and you show me to eat carrots all the time, it's perfect.
Exactly.
However, what about what really quick can we tell them for kids that aren't, we raise them differently?
Right.
You know, they're used to hamburgers. Where did you start? That's
Yeah.
a hard one, right?
Yeah.
That's a hard one.
Being educated, eating too many carbs, high sugars, actually produces fat in your body. Your liver converts it into fat and stores it. You can only take so much sugar in your body. It's called glycogen.
Okay.
In your muscles and your liver.
You know, this is all fascinating. I'm going to have you guys come back again because I think we can talk about a lot of different segments and give people a lot of different tips. But I want to thank you both for being here today. And guys, we'll be right back, as you know, a little commercial that we have to take.
Once we have to face them, how to deal with them and even transform them.
And here we're back with Iris once again. And hey, I want to welcome you, you know, because when I heard that your title, first of all, it was so inspiring because I say, losses. How about that? And you're an expert in losses. How do you explain that?
Yes, I know, because when we are talking about losses, and I say that I work with people going through losses,
right?
Most people, I would say, they assume it's a loss of a loved one.
Right. I automatically think my husband, my mother, somebody died.
Exactly. However, it's when we are talking about transitions in life, which are challenging, which are difficult, and they become losses.
Right.
So the idea is, once we have to face them, how to deal with them and even transform them.
No, of course. And it was interesting because you were telling me something that we can relate to, because on the last segment we were talking about weight and how to eat better. But that girl that you were telling me, I never thought about that, but you're right. It is your identity. And what happened to her?
It is incredible because, yes, this woman, she was sharing that she had lost 90 pounds, and then she had an issue identifying herself with a new
person.
Self. Exactly.
Wow.
So that is kind of loss, so it's adapting, no? Because that's the thing, it's to open the mind to the different things that we face in life and how to adapt to that.
Right. And you know, one of the things I always think about, and I talk about it, you know that movie that Will Smith did recently, right? Where he lost his daughter and he got to the point that it got so bad that destroyed his marriage. He actually isolated himself from the world.
Absolutely.
Practically lost his business. He was just in a different world. And, you know, when I see that, I say, my God, that is going from one extreme to the other. And I don't know if I could even relate to something like that. But how do you come back from something?
Well, the thing is that what you were saying, and we were talking that, that would be, such a huge loss, the greatest loss, even though we said that the greatest loss is the one that happened to you, off camera. However, the loss of a child, so painful, so
You would think that's the greatest one, right?
It's so painful. So what happens, like in this case, he lost his child, and then he had secondary losses as well. Loss of a job, loss of a marriage, out of the primary. And it has to do with how he handled his grief. Because when we talk about grief, it's the natural and unique, very unique response to a
And we
loss.
all handle it differently.
Totally.
As a matter of fact, let's watch a video that we have about somebody and look at their losses.
Okay.
I had a dear friend that I would hang out with him every after school, every lunch. I would even go to the gym with him every once in a while. And at lunch, he would always talk about his dad, how he was a professional, and he used to ride his motorcycles and always win as a career. And one after school, he got home and he saw a motorcycle in his dad's garage, and he thought it would be a good idea to grab the keys, get on the motorcycle, and then race with some of his dad's friends. And irresponsibly, he started racing, he lost control of the bike, and he crashed into a tree. Since that moment, he lost his life. And from that point on, I lost a dear friend as well.
And that's different too. When you're talking about younger kids, that must be hard because like we were saying, when bad situations happen, we don't like to talk about it. It's one of the things that we like to suppress and say, if we don't talk about it, it means it's not real.
Absolutely.
It's not happening, it's not going through.
Absolutely, and it's very painful.
Yes, it is.
It's very painful because he lost his dear friend, his classmate, and this, realization that what he did, that caused his death, and especially with men, that we live in a society. Yes, and sometimes they do not show what they are, feeling inside because women tend, I do not want to say everybody,
no, of course,
because we're different, but women tend more, they're more intuitive, talking about how you feel with their friends, their sisters or moms, and men are more like, in general, putting this face.
It comes
so
from
that
many
makes
years
it,
of history, right?
Exactly.
That man tends to hold their feelings, they don't express themselves. I always like to say, hey, get in touch with your feminine side.
Exactly, but again, because there are some men that are totally the opposite, very expressive, and some women that are totally guarded. But in general, it seems to be that for women, it's more easy to
So
talk
how do
about
we...
that.
How are the things that we could do when we have a loss? It could be a loss of job. It could be a loss of somebody that we love. Hey, as simple as losing the weight. I was telling you earlier, right? I just losing my glasses. I feel like I'm a little bit blind. That's a loss.
Incredible.
Right? Different type of losses. But you say, how do we can start handling something like that?
The thing is that the first thing I would say, Iris, is to accept what has happened to you. In a sense, not of being glad it happened, but in a sense that, well, this is my reality. And I talk about that in the principles, that would be the first principle.
But you do have a book too, by the way. Let me interrupt you there. You're a writer, you're an author, and you have a book that we're looking at right now. If you could see that. What are some of the things you talk about there?
Okay, yes, because in the book is when I introduced the system, the 11 principles of transformation.
Okay.
So it's to transform a loss. Then the first one would be accept what happened to you.
Okay.
Because unless we accept the reality, then we can do something about it.
Right.
We can choose our response. And there are times, of course, the second principle is live your grief. There's a time to process that.
Okay.
However, it's up to us if we stay in that dark place or if you use our inner resources that we all have and just bring all, as they say, pick up the pieces and become at times even a better person than we were before.
Of course, I'm sure stronger
it
because that makes you stronger.
Yeah, because we can grow emotionally and spiritually.
What will be your next one? After I accept it and I realize that yes, I'm confronting my loss, then I grieve about it.
Yes, okay, then I talk about the spiritual dimension, which is about forgiveness, gratitude, and love. Then express your feelings, let go of your mask.
Okay.
Sometimes we wear masks.
Right.
Let go of
we're
that.
all kind of hypocrites sometimes.
Pretending, right? Pretending.
That we're
but
okay.
we get drained, emotionally drained when we live pretending, because this is not a rehearsal.
Right.
Life is a gift. It's not a rehearsal.
And we need to appreciate that,
yes.
right?
So the 5th will be share with others. The 6th, that at times may be very challenging. Take care of yourself.
Okay.
Take
I
care
know
of,
as mothers we tend to forget that, and we always want to take care of everybody else except us.
We need
but
to
please
take care
don't
of
forget
ourselves.
you.
Yes.
If you're not well, you cannot help anybody else.
Do some rituals. The principle 8th, live the now. Be mindful. Live the now.
Right.
9th, which is super important, modify your thoughts.
Okay.
Pay attention
Great.
to what you're thinking,
Okay.
because based on how you think, you feel, and
Of
then
course.
how you act. Then
Perfect.
to rebuild your world, and finally to visualize the life you want.
There you go. And I tell everyone, visualize what you want and it'll
Yes,
come true.
and it will come true.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ligia, I want to thank you. I know
Thank
that you do
you.
more than that. I believe you have, is it like a spa? You do yoga and some other
I
stuff?
have a center. I have a center that I offer
Fantastic.
meditation classes. We do yoga. I see, one-on-one.
Check out our website. Her information will be there too as well. Guys, as always, it's been fun. It's been great. Until next time, I want to thank you. And please, keep open-minded. Keep getting information because we will be able to make a difference. Until next time.